My friends, let's talk about the new moon in the sign of Gemini. It's coming up on June 6th, and it will be Eastern time. It's going to be at 8:38 a.m. You will adjust for your own time zone. I love this. It's at 16 degrees Gemini. We have a few things that happened before this new moon, and since I'm posting this a little early, I don't ever post on the day of the new moon. We are a week out at this recording. I'm going to share my screen with you, and I want to talk about a few things that are happening as well as this new moon in Gemini, because it's important. It's important to understand as we prep for a new moon, because that new moon's, we're in a new birth position, a place of it's very vulnerable, it's very fresh, it's very new. Just think of anybody, any animal, any human just born, and how fresh and fragile those first few hours, few days are. And that's what a new moon is like every time. So it's nice to be prepared for that if you have, the mental capacity to be prepared for it. So I wanted to talk about a few things as we're getting to this new moon. So here's what the new moon looks like. 16 degrees of Gemini for my latitude and longitude. We won't talk about house placements here. We'll talk about how all of us can use it. And as well, I won't talk about what it means for your sun sign. I just want you as an individual. This has always been my focus. I want you as an individual to take the information that you hear here. Yes, 2 hears, and use it to the capacity that you are able to use it, because we're all filtering this world through our own lenses. And if you need something incredibly personal, then you know how to reach out for a session. If you're seeing this in May, I still have a May special. So go to my website and get 11% off. But you have to book it in May. Not the session. You just have to book the session in May. We can do the session whenever you choose. All right, here is that Gemini new moon, but I want to go back just a little bit, because as you can see here, Mercury and Jupiter are together. Mercury is beyond Jupiter, but I'm going to talk about what all of these mean. And we also have Venus is also at 16 Gemini, and that means Venus was conjunct the sun. So all of that happened on June 4th during the lunar phase. That's called the balsamic lunar phase. Now, those last 2 to 3 days before every new moon, which is June 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we are in the lunar phase where it's just about completing and finishing things up. The sun is in Gemini then. Let's just go back to June 4th on Tuesday, and hopefully let me make sure I'm sharing the correct screen. Yes, I am. So here is what it looks like for June 4th, when Mercury and Jupiter were conjunct. Mercury has just entered Gemini on June 3rd. You will see those things in my daily forecasts, depending on where you are. The YouTube shorts on YouTube and on Instagram, you'll find those 60-second shorts, which give us a little tidbit. Here we go deeper. And so Mercury in its own sign of Gemini, Mercury conjunct Jupiter. This is all while we're in the balsamic lunar phase, that phase of surrendering. What am I releasing? What am I surrendering? It's the time of quiet. It's the time of introspection, right? That is what we have before every new moon. And I'm giving you the context of what this is for all of us right now. So Mercury in Gemini, right here in this chart, the moon is in Taurus, not a new moon yet. We're releasing, we're surrendering. And while we have Mercury and Jupiter, let me grab my notes so I can make sure I tell you everything I want to tell you. While we have Mercury and Jupiter making their conjunction, this is an opportunity. This will amplify the information that's coming at you. This will amplify I guess I'll just be plain, because Gemini energy is so much information and just rapid conversation, that sometimes when Mercury and Jupiter come together in this sign, I don't think this happened I don't know if this happened 12 years ago or not. Depends on where Mercury was. I'm not going to look back. I don't know the last time we had Mercury conjunct Jupiter in Gemini. at least 12 years, most likely longer. This means that all the information that's coming at us is just overwhelming. I've realized a personal example that I'm just spending way too much time watching a certain subject on like scrolling when I don't watch TV too much at night. I just scroll. So I could spend a few hours every night on YouTube or Facebook or wherever I'm getting videos, whatever I'm on, whatever platform. And I realized, oh, that subject's spending way too much time in my head now. It's not renting space there, and it feels like it. So I have to stop. That's Jupiter in Gemini. We're going to feel that for a whole year because Jupiter just entered Gemini. But when we get to this aspect here, June 4th, and I am a Gemini, so I'm always like this, but you aren't. Some of you might be. So when we have this new moon in Gemini, but we're not quite there with the new moon, but we have Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, the sun, and soon the moon, we're overwhelmed with information. And so with Mercury conjunct Jupiter in the balsamic lunar phase before the new moon, this tells me that exactly what I just realized again this morning. I'm filming this on the 29th of May. But I just realized this morning, it's just like, oh, that subject has got written too much space in here. It's done. It's evicted. I'll check in once in a while, but I just need it to slow down because that Jupiter will amplify everything. Again, we're going to feel that for a whole year. But right now, it comes apparent to us when planets make their conjunction to Jupiter. In Gemini, it's going to amplify that. We're going to see it out in the world. If you are a news watcher, you're going to see it. Lots of certain subject matters. Lots of information, whether it's former presidents and all of the hoopla going on there, current presidents, all the stuff's going on there. If you're political, you're going to know there's a lot of balls in the air right now. So there's a lot of information. And that's the outside world. Bring it back to you. Your inside world, your inner dialogue during this balsamic lunar phase with planets in Gemini before that new moon. It's just, I want you to realize that it's important that we surrender and let go of some stuff so it will create some space for new socializing, new information to come in and to play. I love that part of Gemini, that, we're just flirty and we're fun, and maybe not everybody. I know. I can hear you all. You know what? Every zodiac sign has that light and the dark piece. So, it's okay. You don't have to tell me that I'm missing something because I'm not. I am not that way. Other people could be pretty dark about it. Lots of lies, lots of deceit, lots of just talking to hear themselves talk. That's some of the shadowy sides of Gemini, and the lighter sides of Gemini, which we're trying to release all of this before the new moon. So we'll get to that too. Is that we're just looking to find a new way to release that energy so we can start doing some new, fresh things for ourselves. Because, the lighter side of Gemini is like, oh, look at all this information. Let's go play. Let's do this. Let's do that. Nothing too serious. That's fantastic. I like it. I wish my Capricorn moon would listen in a little longer, a little more often with the Gemini vibe. I have to encourage it. I have to give the moon what it needs. We all have to give our moon sign what it needs. And then when we're looking at a forecast like this is saying to play, to have fun, to socialize. But before we get to the new moon, like I'm just explaining here right now, is we're releasing things and we're letting go. Now, before we get to the new moon as well, we have Venus, the Venus-Sun conjunction. That happens consistently and regularly, but this is when Venus and the Sun, they're starting a new synodic cycle with each other. It's just whenever two planets come together, that's at the beginning of their new cycle once again. And this, as we're still in the balsamic lunar phase, but we are having, this is on June 4th, Venus-Sun conjunction just before the new moon. This as well is like, let's create some space for some new information that we will value. New information, new moon in Gemini. That's what new information is defined astrologically. And what we value is Venus. Venus, we value information. We value conversation. We value socializing. And so I want us to focus and pay attention on that too, because while they're coming together in the beginning, and they are beginning a new cycle, the Venus Sun, we are still in the balsamic lunar phase for another little over 24 hours. Let me look. 36, right, 35, 34 hours, whatever. It's a little more than a day that we're still in the balsamic lunar phase, and Venus is starting her new phase with the sun. So the sun, Venus start their new phase. This is beautiful. It really is, because that Venus Sun conjunction, again, just means that what do we believe in? What are the words that make sense to us? What is value? I value people being direct, having conversations. If you want something from me, really, it's a pet peeve, honestly. If you want something or you need something, just say so. It's okay to say so. Don't assume I'm going to know. While we all have our own levels of psychicness, it's definitely important that in my world, being a Gemini, and I'm talking about this so I have inside view to this, it's important that if you want me to know something, it's fine, tell me. Don't assume I'm going to pick up your clues. I don't want clues. And I can do all of that, but it's just great because it just means there's clearer communication. And so that's what I'm looking for. And so as we come to this new moon, so let's move up to the new moon on June 6th, here on the East Coast of the US, Eastern Daylight Time. It's at 8:38 a.m. What I love with this, because this marks that fresh start, that new opportunity. And look, Venus isn't moving too quickly. She's kind of she's staying in sync with the sun for quite some time. They're pacing each other right now. So this gives us multiple opportunities. And while she's just beyond it, they're still within 1 degree. So they're definitely in that great connection between the two, where we're learning and we're processing new information. We're ready to connect with a new message or send a new message out. All right. Those are going to be the ways that we can start and process and use this new moon in the sign of Gemini. I'm going to make sure I'm sharing that chart. Yeah, there it is. And that's how we use that new moon in Gemini. I'll give you some more insight in just a minute. I'm going to write a lot of this out and put it on my blog. I am going to post a video before the blog is even done, but maybe you go back and read it. You know what? Just get on my newsletter, and I will send you the email with the blog, lots of specials. You guys, I got my class done. It's done. It's on the website. I'm going to send the link in once we get to the new moon. If you find it, you're welcome to come and check out what the new class is about and get purchase your own copy. But in the meantime, it was a soft launch. I wanted to really launch it with this new moon, so I will. And I want us to also, what else was I going to say here? So I don't know, lost track. That's Gemini for you. But looking at what we got going on here with all this Gemini, yes, I know what it was. Sit down at this new moon. We'll have a couple of days of the new moon phase. It's probably the best to do it when the moon is in the sign that it was a new moon in. However, it is not imperative, because whenever the moon is in a waxing phase, which it is as of this moment, you can set intentions and desires and things such as that we love to do with ritual during the new moon. But the moon will enter the next sign of Cancer, which will be on Friday at 8:41. So we'll have approximately 24 hours that the moon is in Gemini, in the Gemini new moon phase. It'll still be in a new moon phase when it's in the sign of Cancer, because each phase lasts 2.5 to a little over 3 days. It just varies. Right now, it moves a little slow when the moon is out of bounds. So 3 days in the new moon phase, you can put your intentions, do your meditations, clear your head, clear your words, release, and let things go. When it comes to intentions, the things you want to focus on, besides what is most important to you, whatever's important to you, and you want to, set some rituals out and put in some new intentions, do that first, because that's what's important to you. And then follow through with a few intentions based off of Gemini qualities, which we've talked about, but I'll repeat right now, which is about learning, networking. I could stop my share. Yep. Learning and networking and connecting, making new social connections, sharing written or verbal content with the world that's important to you. Like if you really did, if you've wanted to start a blog, if you've wanted to publish a workbook, an ebook, my class has that in it too. If you've wanted to just do your own video blogs or just get on any of the social networks and just start talking to your phone, things like that. That's Gemini. Gemini wants to share information as well as gather information. So I feel this is wonderful. This is lighthearted, and it can be, even with all of the heavy stuff that's going on in the world and the heavy transits that are happening. We are having them. I am not sticking my head in the sand. However, we have to live our lives still with all of that else going on, and not and be present and be in the moment. And that is how I like to live my life. I mean, I worry like like everybody does. We all worry about different things, don't we? All right, let me see if there's anything else that I want to say. So hold on. I just peeked at my notes. Flexible, adaptable, really important things that I want you to embody, especially if you're a fixed sign. Do yourself a favor and just give yourself an opportunity for a little wiggle room. Okay. Just say, all right, every Friday at 11 a.m., I'm going to go do something that I'm curious about, do something that I've never done before. That's the curiosity of Gemini. No matter what your zodiac sign is, it's a little assignment for you. Tell me how that works out. I'd like to hear. I want to hear how you are doing something new, and lead with that. So I remember that I asked you that. I'd love to hear your comments below. So being flexible and adaptable and changeable, and not every minute of every day, but lighten up on the rigid plans and be open for a few more like spontaneous opportunities as well, and even make those things happen. And then spend some time extra if you can. I know this isn't always possible for everybody, but do some extra journaling, some extra meditation, and pick up a new book. It's summer. Oh, well, it's late spring. It's spring, summer reading season. If you like to read, get some new books. And just here in the Northern Hemisphere, just there's a lot more activity this time of year. I mean, I live in a cold climate, but not in the spring, not in the summer. So, get out, network, play with others. It's just all of those things that's the personal impact of this, right? That we have an opportunity to interact and play and learn and explore and love and have fun and communicate with others. And that's the best that we can do with that. I'm going to leave you with that, guys. Please, if you're on, thank you guys on Patreon. I appreciate you every single day. Yes. And if you're on YouTube or you find this somewhere else, please don't forget to subscribe. 85% of the people who watch these videos are not subscribers. And YouTube knows it, so it doesn't show this to too many people. I know the algorithms are not in my favor. However, thank you for your kind support. Blessings, everybody, and namaste.